It is a pleasure to be here this afternoon with you. Many of you are parents and some students, but we often we wear our cape as parents. And so we're going to talk about, I'm going to let you know about strategies, coping skills, and the importance of your role as a parent in help managing your own anxiety, as well as if there's any transference of anxiety to your children. My main population that I service is adolescents, and then the critical part of their healing is the parent. What I often find if the parent is whole, the child is whole. So we're going to I want you guys to ask me questions. What you see is what you get. I'm very transparent, but thank you for attending this session. So, how are you feeling today? How are you feeling? Good. Pretty good. I'm a little bit anxious. I have some somatic symptoms, some nervousness in my stomach. My heart may palpitate. Those are just a couple of symptoms of anxiety. So I am feeling happy, I'm well, I'm glad that I am here with you all today, and so I'm glad that you all are here. And does anyone know who that character is? Anxiety. How many of you have seen that movie? Okay, great. We're going to reference anxiety later. So the reason I asked how you all were feeling, you said good. I'll have to pull this out in the practice because we want to expand your emotional language. So can anyone give me another feeling for good?
Fabulous.
I'm sorry?
Fabulous.
Fabulous.
Satisfied.
Satisfied. Content. This is a tool that I use because often I find that parents don't have the emotional language to express how they're feeling. When you see a core wheel, the core wheel is happy, surprised, bad, fearful, angry, disgusted, sad. So as you are feeling those things, or those emotions, how do you communicate that, or how do you ask your own children, how are you feeling? When they just say, I'm good. I know at least 3 of mine say that. My clients say that as soon as they come into the office, if they're students most often. So understanding and having the vocabulary to express your feelings is very, very important. Did you know that anxiety disorders are the #1 mental disorders within the United States? Over 40 million adults in the United States, 19.1%. So you just make that assumption if adults have children, and there's transference at times, what would be the impact of children with anxiety? My office is filled with children and adults that have anxiety. Approximately 7% of children aged 3 to 17 experience issues with anxiety each year, and most anxiety symptoms are developed before the age of 21. Lifetime prevalence is 31%. That's over a third of your life. Anxiety disorders are more common in females than males. Does anyone know why that is? The multifacetedness of the role of women. So they're not only their mothers, they're caretakers, they are often financial providers, they bear the emotional stress of our families, and they're caretakers of our community. So we can see why anxiety disorders are most common in females, and that's from the National Institute of Mental Health. Now, 2, anxiety is #1. The second, suicide is the second leading cause of death among individuals. But I put depression in there because typically anxiety and depression, typically there's comorbidity with that. So sometimes if you have an anxious, if you yourself are anxious, you may have some depression. So depression affects about 21 million U.S. adults in the population. And so that's typical. If I see a client with anxiety, I often wonder, are there some depressive symptoms there? Because they typically run hand in hand. So we talked about anxiety. We talked about this character right here. When you see this character, what do you think? The visualization of this character. How many of us have ever felt frazzled? We ever felt frustrated? We ever felt there's so many things that we're trying to do at one time? Or we can't do really at one time, but that's in our mind. How many of you felt that? That's over half. Just note that, it's over half. We're going to get to, I just want to share those pictures with you for a moment. But we want to get to the definition of anxiety. What is it? It is an enduring state when an individual anticipates a personally aversive, unpredictable, uncontrollable future situation. Anxiety is always in the future. Depression is always in the past. So anything that you think about in the future that you believe that will cause frustration, that will cause ambivalence within inside yourself, that will cause one to catastrophize or think of the worst case scenario, that is anxiety is future. But there's a difference. All anxiety, social phobias, speaking in front of individuals, agoraphobia, claustrophobia, it's all rooted in one thing: fear. What are you afraid of? What are you scared of? I'm not afraid of anything. Well, if I see you, you're afraid of something. You're afraid of judgment, perhaps afraid of using your voice. There is something that you are afraid of. And so that's the core question to ask yourself. What am I running from? What am I fearful of? Am I fearful of judgment? Most clients are fearful of judgment. Most individuals have a hardship that they believe that they can't overcome. But it's in the future. There's no evidence because it's in the future and we are in the present. So my work primarily that I love to do is tackle fear, because fear is the greatest thing that holds us back from the dreams that were planted within us, from conquering what's in front of us, from thinking that we won't be loved, that we won't be cared for, that we won't be heard. So I want to ask you right now, as a reflective moment, if you have said, I've had anxiety, I've been fearful, I want you to identify that for your own self. And I want you to make a decision today that you will not run from fear, that you will face it. Because other than that, it's going to keep you trapped. Okay, here are the warning signs. Anxious, feeling on edge, clinically. So if you have educators in the room, please don't diagnose. Please do not diagnose. Let us do the diagnosing. So because we look at the whole individual. So feeling on edge, restlessness, I can't sleep, I'm walking, I'm worried, irritability. My wife is just irritable, she's snapping. My husband comes in just like putting things in the closet and goes upstairs and don't even say hello. I don't even get a warm greeting. My children have an attitude like, oh, Mom, Dad, leave me alone. How many of you experienced that? Husbands, wives, mothers, sisters. Restlessness, difficulty sleeping, I'm not getting enough sleep. Cannot stop worrying. And you're catastrophizing. Catastrophizing means that I'm always thinking of the worst thing. And so we want to, one of my roles is to switch that. To not think of the worst thing, let's think of the best thing. And then we can go ahead, if this, if that. trouble relaxing, can't calm down. Here are your phobias. Stomach aches, somatic. I feel it in my body. My heart is pumping. My hands are sweaty. And so typically you need to meet 6 of these criteria to be diagnosed, okay? Here's some other things, some selective mutism, fear of talking, social anxiety, fear of meeting people. How many of you know that we do not engage like we used to? So I'm like Gen X. How many Gen Xers in the room? How many boomers? How many beyond Gen X? Gen Z? That's what it's like. We don't engage the way they used to because they have the social media. Hello, how are you doing? So they don't do that embarrassment. They're embarrassed about how they appear, and they have low self-esteem or confidence. So we want to disrupt all of these pattern behaviors because there's a pattern in the behavior. And so my question is, as we go through this, and you think about yourself, what happened? We're going to talk about the amygdala, and we're going to talk about the hippocampus in your brain. So what happened? Why am I scared about that? So next one, panic attacks. Okay, anxiety developmental. Couple things. It can be genetic and biological. It could be grandfather, grandmother, if you have some type of genetic. Temperament. Look at your children, if you were born, were they a fussy baby, were they very attentive, were they difficult, were they slow to warm up? It could be your environment. Work is stressful. Parenting is stressful. Parenting style, if you are parents, how many of you are parents? Are you an authoritarian? Do it because I said so, and you know how this goes. Are you authoritative, which makes it a balance of firm discipline and love? Are you dismissive and permissive? Oh, but you can do anything you want to. Dad, can I drive the car? But I haven't done my homework. I've been disrespectful to mom. Oh, son, you can do anything you want to. Can I stay out at 11:30 at night? Oh, yes, you sure. Sure you can. Parenting style makes a difference. The best parenting style that produces less anxious children is authoritative. Authoritarian, the children will begin to do what they want to do when they have a lot of freedom. Permissiveness has shown that parents or students or children with parents that are very permissive tend to have worse outcomes. Protective factors. Does your home, or do you have protective factors? Do you have a girlfriend? Do you have a sister? Do you have the guys you go out with? Do you have something that you can release your, you can release your anxiety, you can talk to, that's someone that can support you? Do you talk about your issues with your friends? Are you comforted? Quality of family and marital partner relationship, that's critical. And the emotional intensity of households. I want to tell you, what is very disappointing as a professional is that when I see, and I'm going to say intact families, moms and dads in the household, beautiful children, they have their shelter, they have food, they have access to some of the really wonderful things in life. When I talk to the child, they say, well, my parents argue. My parents fight. Believe me, it is making your child more anxious, and they are watching. They are always watching. So parents, if you have children in the household, be conscious of how you talk to your spouse. Be conscious of how you even greet one of your children, because they're watching. So emotional, if it's high, mostly we're going to see them, they're going to have some type of emotional distress. How we attach. So we talked about secure attachment typically in our childhood when you're babies. Secure attachment. Have you guys ever, you see this? The baby cries. Wah, 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 wah. Maybe say, come see me. And the mom, dad, grandmother, doesn't matter, caretaker. So it doesn't have to be the mother, it doesn't have to be the father. It just has to be someone who is caretaking. When they respond to the child, that child has a secure attachment. Insecure, ambivalent, which I want that third one right there. It means that the child cries, teenager cries, and you see this in your adult relationships. Let me show you how. Teenager cries, hey, can I have this? Go to your dad. Dad, can I get this? Go to your mom. Mom, can I get this? I don't know. So the child does not know where to get the need met. How do you see it in adults? How do you see it with parents? I'm stressed out as a parent. I'm the provider for my household. I don't like to take males. Males don't hardly ever talk. So, and they're stressed out, they're provider of the household, they're bearing the brunt of financial responsibilities, and in their childhood, to show emotional, if there's ambivalence, if they have not had anyone to meet their emotional need, to care for them, to love them, to say, how are you doing today? How that will show up is that they will not come to the partner to seek love, to seek nurture. They will refrain and try to handle it by themselves. Does that make sense? Or it may not be, but have you ever experienced someone like that? Like, I got this. I did this. I got to the top on my own. You didn't help me and you didn't help me. My degree helped me. But you never get to a place on your own. Everyone wants to be validated. They want to be heard and seen. Insecure, disorganized. This is one of the worst attachments. In the childhood, what it means is that the very people that were supposed to show me love, security, are the individuals that are hurting me. So if you've experienced that in your childhood, what that does in your adulthood, it creates a sense of hyperarousal, where you then believe, because of your childhood, that the very people who will help you in some way will harm you. So as a child, you only go to those caretakers. But as an adult, is a very rigid type of thinking. Very, very rigid, very suspicious. And it does create anxiety because you wonder, will they like me? Will they help me? So this is just another example of parenting. For authoritative, clear expectation, definitive rules. Okay. Authoritative, clear expectations, definite rules, supportive. Authoritarian, high expectations. Very disciplined and unsupportive. High expectations for the child. Very disciplined, but yet unsupportive. What does that look like? Oh. Does anyone have anyone that's perfectionist? Well, I was. Has anyone ever met someone they got, just think back, maybe you got a 98 on your exams, but you get that 2 points made a difference, right? Color inside the lines. So as soon as you go outside the line, oh, what did you do? Right, authoritarian. That's not good. Permissive, I don't care, low expectations. An uninvolved parent, I just really don't care. So we seek to have parents become more authoritative. When your students both you, they said, well, the curfew was 11, but mom, you said 10:30. Well, son, the curfew was 11, 10:30, you came at 11, now you're going to have to come in at 9:30. Why? You don't hear these terms anymore. Disrespectful, disobedient. You guys, did you hear those terms when you were growing up? I hear it less and less these days, right? Fight, flight, freeze, or fall. I just want to give you guys a little exercise before we get into this one. If you meet someone that is anxious and they're in your presence, you can calm them down easily. One is touch. Like, don't be touching the phone. But if you have a colleague, please, if it's a, you can touch if it's a woman. If it's a man, on the shoulder. When you touch, I want you to breathe. Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. It's very important you breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then what happens is that if that person is looking at you, hey, how you doing? And you have this energy, it's called mirror neurons. So Northwestern, I studied neuroscience, mirror neurons. If it happens in the brain, our brain continually changes. But I feel you. I feel your energy. And then they can begin to co-regulate with you. So you got someone hyper in your house, a calm spirit, calm person, can help regulate their nervous system. If you have arguing, you meet each other high level. One must be high and one must be low. Have you guys ever, I don't know if you ever had a situation, but that is one way. Proximity, folks, how are you doing? And breathe, and the breath, and a smile. Fight, flight, or freeze, what happens? Okay, we see a big lion. Right. We're in the zoo. I'm going to pretend we're in the zoo because we're not in a forest. But if we were in the forest, we're not expecting a lion. Okay, but we're in the zoo, and all of a sudden, this lion gets out of the cage, and the announcements are made. It's running, and now you see it. What are you going to do? Your body is going to enter into these. There's another one called fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. So you're gonna fight, which means that I'm gonna fight my way to get out of it. If you guys I was raised in the South and had to fight a couple of times, but you're gonna fight, knock them out, right? You're gonna run to get away to safety, or you're gonna freeze because I don't know what to do. Freeze is typically a trauma response. So if you don't know what to do, and then what happens? The lion attacks you. The last one is fawn, and you all may have seen this, if you haven't. The lion sees the deer. The lion attacks the deer, or Bambi. Bambi can't get away. Just can't. I have nowhere to go. I can't escape. So I'm going to play dead. And maybe the lion will open up its mouth, and then I can run to safety. So these are the anxiety responses, the fear responses. I'm going to fight to get out of my life, fight to get to flee, so I can be safe. I'm going to run. Maybe that's the best way to safety. I'm going to freeze because now I'm frozen. And our nervous system, we just don't know what to do. And if I can get out of it, and you see this in abuse situations, I'm gonna play, I'm gonna disassociate, I'm gonna protect myself because I can't get out of it. Okay. Steve Porges, excellent neuroscientist, developed the polyvagal theory, which just says that our best emotional state is in social engagement. Here you see the fight and flight, frustrated, irritated, anger, rage, movement, panic, fear, anxiety, worry, concern. Our sympathetic system, our arousal system has heightened. In the freeze fawn, like disassociation, I just don't feel numbness, pain, your heart rate goes down. Shame, shut down, hopeless, or preparing for death. You feel trapped. The best way for social engagement is when we're calm. We're settled, we're grounded, And the things that help us get that way is our breathing. I'm gonna give you another technique. Our awareness, being mindful, curious. I wonder what that is. Maybe I was anxious about this new job, this new VP. I'll prepare and I'll see after I have it. So when you are in the fight and flight, you're going to see your blood pressure increase, your heart rate, fuel, so that you can fight or run and protect yourself. Your adrenaline, your oxygen level becomes shallow. If you ever work with trauma victims, firefighter, your house got on fire. Firefighter says, where's the brown bag? Breathe in. Your breath gets shallow because you're getting ready to protect yourself. So as you breathe, as you are aware, open-minded, as you are aware of your surroundings, your heart rate comes down. You can look more you can look at what is happening, but also you can reason. Move it in your eyes. So you know, typically when you are getting ready to flee, your eyes don't go like this. They don't go from side to side, scanning the room. They look for, very intentional with a way of escape. Another fight or flight, you see digestion. You're not hungry. Your immune response, many diseases happens because if there's continuous anxiousness, which we are not built to, our human body is not built to have anxiety all the time. Our cortisol levels are up, and that has a negative impact on our lifespan and diseases, and it can make you sick. What are teens anxious about? And what are you anxious about? Current events, economy. Anybody worried today about what's happening? Election, gun violence. Teens are saying they're worried about, I didn't put social media on there, but how they're perceived because of this comparison. Often you're anxious if you're also comparing what others have and where they are. High expectations, hormones, your brain development, parental disappointment, peer pressure, drinking or drugs, public speaking and judgment. Social media is high up there. I didn't put that in there. Okay, social media comparison. Why is this such a trigger? If you have more or less screen time, our students have more less screen time, our children, we will see there's less comparison. They're seeing everything. I don't know, I've seen some things I hadn't seen before. I was like, I'm an adult. Like what? They're exposed to too much. So giving yourself, as a parent, a break from screen time, whether before you go to bed, please don't get up with it in the morning. I would suggest a meditation in the morning. And what does a meditation look like? Or gratitude. Thank you that I'm here. Thank you my family is safe. Thank you my children are safe. And thank you for today. So if you have a higher power, just grounding yourself so that you can begin your day. Soft music. Because your mind, when you wake up in the morning, there's a lot of chaos. You seem to follow the pattern, but your mind is in a theta. Can you guys say theta? Theta. It's a theta brainwave, which means that it's most programmable when you're in a theta brainwave. It says, today's going to be a good day. I'm going to like my boss. You know, I'm not going to be anxious about him. I'm going to be curious about, why does he behave the way that he behaves? I'll become the scientist. Then I can engage with him differently. Fear of missing out, FOMO, cyberbullying and negative interactions, encountering online harassment, inadequate sleep. Anxiousness and sleep, they go hand in hand. Because you're up worrying. You're thinking about the future. You're thinking about the what ifs, and you have no evidence. You must stay in the present. Triangles in neuroscience. The brain doesn't lie. The brain doesn't lie. You guys say that? The brain doesn't lie. Everyone has a brain. The brain is forever changing. Every experience changes the brain. You look at the neuroscience of it. So, in our body, we have millions of neurons. Every neuron, every time you have an experience, our neurons fire. And what that does, so if you're running from something, if you're fearful of something all the time, you're creating a neuronal pathway. And you think of a river, slow, a little stream. One of the fears is social speaking. So if you have a fear of speaking and you don't speak, in your neuronal pathway in your brain, every time you run from it, it deepens. That makes sense? Like a little river. So now it becomes a river. And then it becomes, if you keep running from it, then it becomes an ocean, because you can't go to the lake. Yeah, it becomes wide. So it's going to say, face your fear. You have nothing to fear. Everything that is placed within you, you have the answers. But it's turning to that. And it's being curious. So, neurons, according to the Hack law, neurons that fire together, wire together. So as you do new things, as you engage in new habits, habitually, you're going to find that the river that you once created is going to dry up, and then there's going to be a new way of reacting. Parents come home, children haven't cleaned up. Oh my God, they're running around, right? Because they're fearful of if mom and dad come and the house is not clean, what's going to happen? So we want them to create habits of, okay, I had done my chores, I've done, so that when they do come in, you know, that the child will be like, ah. Or if the parent knows that, and the parent has a way of interacting, you didn't clean your room, you didn't do this. A parent can say, you know what, that makes me anxious. Go back to find out why with yourself. And then how can I respond differently? So we have to respond differently in a pattern brain. So we have 100 billion neurons within the whole body. They're talking to one another. We have 86 billion neurons in the brain. 40,000 neurons in the heart. The reason that I thought this was so important to bring to you, because the things that some of you think in your heart, your brain and your heart, they're aligned. I feel sad in my heart. There's a connection. Those neurons fire to your brain. Oh, you're sad. Now you're gonna think these things. Or if you're thinking, I'm so sad. Now it's gonna make my heart sad. I'm thinking, I'm so anxious. Do you know your body's listening to you? That's when your heart palpitates, right? And it gets ready to go fight, flight, freeze. And the organ that does that is the amygdala. Amygdala is in your brain is the one it's emotional. It keeps memories of it keeps the memories for emotion. It doesn't make meaning of it. It just knows that, oh, I'm in danger. Right? Have you ever had a teacher who was like the worst teacher forever and ever, or a colleague, or when you see someone that reminds you of that, it's an emotional. The hippocampus stores the memory and creates meaning. I'm going to be in danger because the last time that I had an individual, they were very critical of me, and it had a negative consequence. Well, that person is not the person that you had the initial encounter, but that stuck. So beware of what you think, because it has a direct, bi-directional impact in your heart. Had someone who lived a long age, healthy, their wife passed. A few months later, they passed. What do you think they passed of? Broken heart. There's a correlation. when you have anxiety, which we are not, our bodies are not built to hold it on a consistent level, it makes our cortisol level rise, which means that there's going to be a physiological stress response. And we're not meant to carry, we're not meant to worry all the time. Our heart is not supposed to be pumping all the time as hard. We need to feel some type of safety. What it results in, we can immune system. I mean, you're always sick. What's happening? Like, every time, like every week you're sick. Headaches, nerve problems, digestive issues, my tummy hurts, high blood pressure, heart disease, high blood sugar. You know, in America, heart attacks are the number one. Many people die of death of heart attacks. So watch your cortisol levels. We use, the power of thought is powerful. We use, if you're in my office, we use CBT, which means that when you have a situation, understand your situation. What is it? Your situation produces a thought. What are you thinking? Your thinking produces emotion. Your emotion produces what you see as a behavior. So you think about if there's something that you are fearful of or anxious, think about what you are thinking about it. If you want to change it, number one, if you take anything away from this, if you're anxious or fearful, identify what the fear is. Do your own work. The second main thing is, how do you want to respond? We're not going to get to the in-between steps. I'm scared of this. Make sure it's not mortal danger or, but I'm scared of this. And in the middle, we will plan. But how do you want to respond? Because your body, your brain is listening to that. And now, in the middle is the engagement piece. And we can help you. Go to the next one. You can control your thoughts. 6,200 thoughts a day. They just fly by. And you're making decisions all the time. You're just deciding which ones you're going to focus on. Are you going to be negative or are you going to be positive? So we have to train our brain how to think more positive instead of negative. But you have 6,200 thoughts a day. You really determine what you're going to focus on. And a couple more slides. How you think, we have a term called ants. I have little ants in my office. Like, oh, that's an automatic negative thought. Most of our thoughts are negative. Do you catastrophize? Do you jump to conclusions? Do you have tunnel vision? Do you say all or nothing is this or that? Where's the gray? Do you overgeneralize or do you personalize and blame? Identify what your automatic thoughts are. Most automatic thoughts are catastrophizing and assumptions. Well, they won't like me, your children. Well, yes, they will. How do you know? Do you have any evidence? And we can create the plan. Here's the plan. To attack automatic thoughts. You're triggered. You have a high emotional thought or fear, then you have your anxiety symptoms, which you seek safety, and then you attempt to control anxiety. The internal locus of control, you ask yourself, you don't necessarily need a therapist, we will help. What is it that I need to do to control this? Can I control it? Next one is by offering a challenging thought. A challenging thought. What is the evidence? Is there anything good about this situation? What am I learning and what can I do? Deconstructing your belief. Everything is in the belief. If you do things because you believe it. Why do I believe what I believe? If I'm going to face this thing that I'm fearful of, can I do it afraid? Yes. You can do it afraid, and then you can examine how you felt after you did it, okay? Reflect, positive affirmation, that's fine. And just look for the evidence. So we normally use CBT, cognitive behavior thinking, mindfulness. I'm just going to give you one mindfulness exercise for you for 10 seconds. As you breathe in, breathe out, close your eyes, breathe in, breathe out. Notice how you're feeling. Notice if you feel tense or if you feel relaxed. Breathe in, breathe out. Notice what you hear. Do you hear the people in the hallway? Do you hear the fan? Do you feel the thump of your heart? Do you hear the thump of your heart? Breathe in, breathe out. And just notice how you're feeling. Are you relaxed or you're tense? And it's okay if your mind wanders, because that's what you're supposed to do in your first exercise. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Take a breath out. How'd you feel? Did your mind go over? If it did, it's supposed to, until you practice. And I'm giving you these last tips. Focus. Just focus on the present. Don't think too far in the future. Take a minute to pause for yourself. Eat healthy. No sugar. Kind of limit that in your home. Sleeping, laugh, dance in your home. Dance with your girlfriend, with your partner. That reduces anxiety because your body keeps the score and your body houses every feeling that you have. And then just model calm behavior in your home. And it just takes practice. You may not get it right the first time. Just model that and establish routine and encourage open communication.